if someone offered to double your productivity, what would you do with that productivity? How are you going to spend that extra 50% of productivity? Can you take pride in the fact that you slept a full night's sleep and you are completely mentally empowered now and totally fresh and especially creative? If you follow the suggestions that we cover in the 12 life tools, your state of mind will be completely free of exhaustion, and maybe for the first time in your corporate life or your work life, your mind will be completely well rested and clear and creative. And so it's not just that we're not doubling your exhaustion, we're taking away the exhaustion completely. And so you're getting twice as much work done, and you feel great, and your mind is clear, and you don't feel tired.
Okay, so thank you for your time, and thank you for doing this level.
He's my sugar daddy.
The first question I wanted to ask you is, can you please explain the title and why you chose it?
Yeah, why did we choose the title for AL4?
Mm-hmm.
And it has two parts, basically. One is double your productivity. And I just kind of going on the assumption that everyone who takes a DCI course is a busy person, and usually they have things that they want to get done in their life. And I think people who take DCI courses, they have a goal in their life. They have things that they're doing. They often own a business, or they're in the management of a business, and they could really appreciate the idea of in the same hour doing twice as much work. So I think that's the basically when you give something a title, you try to make it informative, but you also try to make it really attractive to people, and that when they hear it, they say, oh, that's something I'd be really interested in. Then we said with the special kind of daily wisdom AI, and I think that many people will not appreciate that part of the name of the course. I don't think I'm going to hear a lot of people say, oh, I use the daily wisdom AI. But it is a very, very precious and valuable part of the course, that 3 of the 12 life tools give you a huge amount of information that you can use to double your productivity. So I kind of, somehow I wanted to get it into the title, that we're making a gift of these really sort of major works, including my original Diamond Cutter business book, that will help people to double their productivity. And it feels like a free gift. And I like to give away things. So.
Awesome. Thank you. So in just preliminary talks with some of our organizers, the people in our team, I don't know if I think you know this, in DCI we seem to attract a lot of type A personality types. And we got the feedback that for people that are in that category, doubling their productivity may sound exhausting. So it's people that have several projects going on at the same time. How can this course help them? And because I know that that's not what you're proposing, right? Can you please tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I also, if someone, like if in my old company, if the top management said we want twice as much work out of you, I would feel very uncomfortable, and I would envision, more hours at the office and exhaustion and things like that. So I appreciate that, and I understand that. I think the moment you say double your productivity, in a normal context, it means twice as much work and twice as much exhaustion, and even possible burnout. And the point is two things: you double your productivity without more effort and without more time. So really, you're just getting twice as much work done for the same amount of time, and that's doesn't even state the whole case. The whole case is that probably it will feel like you're spending a quarter of the time or something because of your clarity of mind. If you follow the suggestions that we cover in the 12 life tools, your state of mind will be completely free of exhaustion, and maybe for the first time in your corporate life or your work life, your mind will be completely well rested and clear and creative. And so it's not just that we're not doubling your exhaustion, we're taking away the exhaustion completely. And so you're getting twice as much done, twice as much work done, and you feel great, and your mind is clear, and you don't feel tired.
Awesome. So in the following questions, I want to ask you if you can please repeat the question in your answer. So what if there's people that don't want to double their work productivity, but they are having more trouble like being happier with the family? How can this course help them?
Yeah, that's a good question. As a business person, and as a person who sells training, if you called the title of the level "Double Your Happiness," then it sounds, to be honest, it sounds a little too corny, or it sounds like just having fun, not serious fun, or something like that. And it sounds too almost religious or something. And so we did not call the level doubling your happiness, but I can say that with the doubling of your productivity, independent of your productivity, your state of mind improves double, which means you are twice as contented. And I keep coming back to the word joyful. And I know that's not a normal, like in an MBA course, they wouldn't stress joyfulness in your business, but it actually does make you joyful. And which to me means you're excited, you're interested, you're having fun, and your state of mind is joyful. And to me, that's extremely valuable. And if you ever taste it, you will say that's the coolest thing you ever tasted. So I would say you double your amount of joy.
Okay, thank you. What the next question I want to ask you is, what's your vision, your long-term vision for this course? Maybe from beyond our existence. How would you like? What would be the perfect evolution of this course in your eyes?
How would I envision the perfect evolution of this course, and where would I like to see this course go in 10 years or 20 years or 100 years? And I worry about this course, and I'll tell you why. Once people hear about the content of the 12 life tools, I'm afraid. I'm uncomfortable that people will think it's too simple, or they don't believe that this is a serious business or a serious career move that they can make. For example, to get 8 hours of sleep is not something they teach in Harvard Business School or something like that. But I was recently at a doctor's office because I strained a muscle, and they had one of these information screens going in the waiting room where you can't ignore it, and there was a long explanation of the benefits of getting a 8 hours sleep. And I have never gotten 8 hours of sleep, and I never thought it was important, you know. And so my feeling about the evolution of this course is that it will have a slow start. You know, I think it will take some work. We're going to have to work hard to get people to try it. And then once people try it and they get the benefit from it, I think it will explode. You know, then they'll go and tell their friends and they'll say, you got to try this thing. But it's going to be a hard sell. We live in a culture, my corporate culture in Manhattan, we were praised and rewarded for not getting enough sleep. Or we felt we could brag, or we felt macho if we were totally exhausted and we could hardly keep our head up. And what you're talking about is a complete shift in culture. You know, can you take pride in the fact that you slept a full night's sleep and you are completely mentally empowered now and totally fresh and and especially creative. So, but I think it's gonna, to be honest, I think it's gonna be a hard sell at the beginning. People aren't used to believing that a full night's sleep is such a miracle.
Oh, great. Actually, the next question I have, thank you, by the way. So the next question I have is about sleep and seeds. So to me, it seems that there's two important things about sleep: the length, but also the quality. How can we plan? I imagine there must be two different seeds, or maybe more. Can you please tell us what are the seeds that you think that we need to plan to have a good long sleep, but also a restful night?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, since DCI Global emphasizes so much the role of planting seeds in everything we do and everything that happens to us, then what specifically is the seed recommendation we're making in this level? And what's the specific, what are the specific seeds that help you have not only a long sleep, 8 hours sleep, but also high quality sleep? The kind of sleep that's such high quality that when you wake up, you're extremely creative, and therefore more profitable. You know, so I would say the way we covered this question is built into the course. So 3 of the 12 life tools are information. 3 of the 12 life tools are a database. It's like an AI database of information, which is all seeds. So 1/4 of all the life tools in this level are not, and by the way, about half the pages of the whole manual are devoted to information that will help you plant seeds. So I'm kind of proud of the structure of the course, and you don't see the structure when you're taking the course, but built into the course, packed into the middle of the course, is a huge amount of material that teaches you how to plant many, many different kinds of seeds. So there are many different kinds of reading material that you would use daily as you go through the course, and that would help you. That specific reading material would plant new kinds of seeds in your mind, and they would cause this kind of fresh sleep freshness and creativity.
Yes. Thank you. The next question I wanted to ask is, we say in the level that a full night's sleep increases your productivity, and it might seem that that's a conventional correlation.
Yeah.
How can we explain this with seeds?
Oh, that's a good question. So I'll repeat the question in a way. Your company, DCI Global, you guys are the seed experts of the world. You say that everything actually comes from seeds in your mind, and it doesn't. It seems kind of mechanical to say that, oh, if you get a full night's sleep, then that will help you be more creative and things like that. And technically, although we state it that way, it's not the case. You know, if that were true, then if you slept 16 hours, you would be 4 times more creative.
Right.
So, yeah, I admit that there could be a misimpression here. And I admit that it sounds sort of conventional, that if you add another hour of sleep, you add another 10% of creativity or something like that. And that's not really what's happening. It's that if you have a restful sleep, and if you begin that sleeping session, 6 hours, 8 hours, with planting new kinds of ideas, new thoughts in your mind as you fall off to sleep or as you go to sleep. And by the way, so there's a new period in my life, personally. There's the electronic period of my day, which goes up to 10:00 p.m. And then there starts a very new sweet chapter in my life, which is usually about half an hour long. And I peacefully read something very inspiring. And I'm kind of getting prepared to sleep. So I have this transition period. And we didn't make a separate life tool called transition period or something like that. But it's worth thinking about. Maybe in the future people can study this transition period. Of course it will include coffee meditation, but more than that. It might be, I would say it's 3 times longer than a normal coffee meditation. And you are exposing your mind to the seeds of great ideas that will germinate while you're asleep for the next 8 hours. So, yeah, I think that in between, it's like a twilight period between when you get in your bed and when you fall asleep. And for me, that has become one of the most, I don't know how to say it, pleasant periods of my whole day. Yeah. And me and my wife are both enjoying that. So we've worked on getting our sleep schedules kind of in sync. And lots of marriage counselors or marriage therapy will say that if you sleep with your partner in the same bed, if you can match your sleep schedules, it's very, very helpful. And I believe that's true. So we didn't just set a time and follow it. It didn't work. Her cycles, what do you call that?
Circadian rhythm?
Yeah, circadian rhythms are different from mine. She gets sleepy earlier. She wakes up earlier. So I think as a couple, you might find that you're going to have to negotiate the period when you go into sleep. And I think that period deserves a lot of study and a lot of attention. And we did not write a separate life tool for that specifically, but I think it would be a worthwhile thing.
Nice. Thank you. Actually, the next question is about that. To me, it seems that the star of the manual is these 100 joules. that's where, I mean, the whole manual, but it seems to me that that's where the the main thing is. I know that usually you don't like to brag, but can you please tell us
I love
about
to brag.
can you please
Yeah.
tell us about all these beautiful jewels that are
Yeah.
there, and what's your vision for that?
Yeah, there's I translate every morning. What I doubled my productivity is my translation work, and I really did double it. And I think I send out an update every morning. You get it every morning. It's over 1,300 pages of extremely difficult translation, and it's just fun, and I understand everything, and it's like eating cake or something.
Mm.
And I do it for like 6 hours. And as I was translating this book, the author often references a book that was written 2,500 years ago, and it's actually a collection of short pieces. It's called Ratnakuta, and Ratna means jewel, and Kuta means a big disorganized pile. So there's interesting that there's a whole uh, series of literature in ancient Sanskrit called Ratnakuta, which means pile of jewels. And when you come to that section, or when an author references that section, you always feel a little excited because it's tasty, and there's going to be some kind of fun, short, beautiful thing. And so I wanted to capture this idea. So 100 joules means it's actually 127 references that I used. And my first job was to split those into genres. So there's different categories of literature. And my hope is that as a person who's taking advanced level 4, when you reach those 3 life tools, I think it's 6, 7, and 8, then inside there you'll find many options for inspiring reading as you fall asleep. And what it is it's a sample of each very different genre of literature, different subjects of literature. And it's meant to be a teaser. It's meant to say, here's one chapter. It's free. If you like it, you can follow up and get the whole book and go deeper. And I really hope that people will read the sample and then they'll say, they'll probably say, this one's not so interesting to me, especially the one about logic. And then there might be a different one, which is about emptiness or something. And I imagine people will say, wow, that one I'd really like to read more. And then we show you how you can read more. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So one of my favorite things now as a translator, as a mixed nut, is that you choose the cream of the cream in terms of where you get your source material for all the books that you have written. And I've experienced the Goodnight Book Club trying to sometimes reading the books that are there, and to be honest, sometimes just reading a normal book.
Yeah.
And I've noticed a difference. Can you tell us how different the seeds are of reading these great ancient ideas versus just like a management book from normal management book?
I gotta make a confession here. By definition, at this time of the day, you're tired, and you want to sleep, and I don't always read one of those 100 joules. I was in a bookstore with my wife a few months ago, and I saw these cowboy books, and they were written by an author who lived 100 years ago. And when I was growing up, my parents would take me into the forest for 3-4 weeks to a lonely cabin. And this writer's, the cabin where he wrote his books was nearby. You could walk to it in this very large, forest without many roads or anything. And anyway, he wrote very beautiful books. There's a lot of nature in them. There's a lot of adventure in them, and there's a lot of romance in them. His name was Zane Grey. And so, to be honest, if I'm tired, if I'm really tired, I don't read from the 100 Jewels. I will pick up the cowboy novel, and I will, take a real break of 10, 15 minutes. And I think that's healthy. I think you should have both books on your night table, and then maybe you read a little bit from each one, or maybe you just read the cowboy novel, or whatever novel, science fiction or something you enjoy. And so, in my opinion, it's nice to go into your 8-hour sleep period with an option, either option. If I'm really, really tired, I don't want to read philosophy at 10 o'clock at night. I will read the novel. But the philosophy is always there, and I will read the philosophy. If I feel not too exhausted, I will read that. And that's going to be, I think the combination plants better seeds. Instead of struggling to plant seeds and feeling guilty if you don't plant seeds, I think to mix some entertainment with some seed planting material, even in the same night, I think it's very cool. I think it's a cool combination. Yeah. And it's innocent literature. It's nothing like a modern movie, which is typically really violent and disturbing. So I avoid that kind of thing.
Thank you. Can you please tell us a little bit about some of the sources, your favorite sources that you use for this course?
That's a good question, and I had a lot of fun specifically with the 100 Jewels, and I set a goal for myself to review all the books I ever wrote, or all the books I ever translated, and it was a funny, 6-month period or something, because some of those early books I wrote, I don't have a copy, and I had to work to find a copy, And then every time I found an early book, I would think of another one that I didn't have, and so I found a whole group of books specifically between, I would say, 1976 to 1998. So that, for me, that's a 20-year period in my life, but it's an old period in my life. And then I have to say, I was really pleasantly surprised that the early material was very, very high quality. So, it was my teacher was guiding me towards there's a book called Methods of Achieving the Path. This is based on Prajnaparamita literature. It's 1700 years old. And I didn't, because I was living with a great master, he would feed me the most valuable things when I was 25 years old, or 23 years old. And he was feeding me these really, really amazing topics and texts. So those books, the 100 Jewels books, are really, really valuable, and they influenced the whole course. So the whole course was drawn from those early high-quality classics that my teacher my teacher was basically trying to introduce a foreigner to a whole culture, and he was making choices about, if someone asked you what's the most valuable 3 books in your whole culture, and you had to make this decision, that was the kind of decisions he was making. And so anyway, those early books really are make it a rich selection.
Yeah. Thank you. And maybe some of our audience in DCI doesn't know, but you spend most of your morning immersed in these books.
Yeah.
And I know that this is the main or a big chunk of the legacy you want to leave to this world. What would be what's your wish? What's your vision of how to use this legacy?
So yeah, it's a beautiful question. So how did I choose what to work on, and how do I work on it? And basically the question is, if someone offered to double your productivity, what would you do with that productivity? How are you going to spend that extra 50% of productivity? And so I started, I think 12 years ago, I started translating a very difficult and very important book about emptiness that was written 600 years ago. And I worked on it for about 3 years. And I remember where I was. I was often in a coffee shop called Echo Cafe on McDowell Road, because that's where my wife's mother lived, and we were taking care of her. She was actually, she passed away not long after that. So we would often go there and take care of her. And then I would sit in this coffee shop, and I started to translate this book. And then after a few years, we started the Mixed Nuts Project. We started the Shensang Tower project. And that involved 12 different books and 12 different translators that I was training. And I felt like I wanted to devote my time to those 12 people. And I stopped working so much on that book. And then I felt bad about it. We worked you and me worked for 8 years, 9 years and all the translators. And we made good progress. I think each of the translators has finished an important volume, most of them. Mm-hmm. And then I felt, okay, I can take a little step back and get back to this book, but it's so difficult. It's on a different level. And I used to be uncomfortable with it. I used to I open it up and I say, this is too hard, this is too difficult. And I would kind of avoid it. And then now that I got a full night's deep sleep, and then I open up this same book, and suddenly it's talking to me like an old friend, And so I used Advanced Level 4 to get my mind into a state where I could easily read this very, very important and very deep book. And the books, the sentences or the paragraphs that I used to avoid, I feel hungry. And I feel like I want to attack them, and I feel excited. And so every morning, it's on a different level. I don't teach this book. It's too difficult. Every sentence is almost a paragraph. And his state of mind is on a different level, completely different level. And but now I'm fresh enough to read it, and I'm fresh enough to translate it, and it's so fun for me, and it's so exciting. and it's very, very deep and very, very beautiful. So I'm very excited that I was the first person in the world who took advanced level 4, and then I used it. And what's happening is, because I'm exposed to those ideas every morning for about 5 hours, I can work 5 hours without feeling tired at all. And I got used to being with this very, very deep thinker. And then when I stop and I go to my normal work, uh, it all goes to a higher level. And that's what any person will experience if they take advanced level 4.
Great.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Well, actually, that's part of the next question. I think you already said it, but how is this course different than any other? I think productivity must be one of the most popular top. I mean, there's a lot of books written.
Yeah.
I know I studied business and I've read many, many books.
Oh, yeah.
How is this level different?
That's a good question. And the answer is difficult. Okay. Because what this level does is different from the 15 levels that went before.
Mm.
Okay, this is level 16 really. It's 12 plus 4. And none of the previous levels that we offered, except maybe the meditation level. What was that? 3, yeah. Except that one, perhaps. None of the levels was meant to create a fundamental change in the quality of your mind. You see what I mean? It was more information. All the levels are more information, and the information is really useful. Mm-hmm. And you can take it, and you can learn it, and you can go make more money. You can make more success. You can have a better family life. You can do those things with all the levels. But this level changes. This level makes a fundamental change in the quality of your mind. And so that it's not so much more information. It's a fundamental advance in the quality of your thinking process. And it's surprising when it happens to you, and it's refreshing, and it's exciting, and because your mind gets, I don't know, it's like supercharged, and it doesn't go away. Okay, so really, it's a thing of, because you're getting 8 hours of high quality sleep, then the quality of your mind changes while you're awake, and the thinking process becomes much more high quality. And then what you wouldn't guess or you wouldn't predict is that to spend the whole day inside of a much higher quality mind, it's like me and my friend Rob, we visited California recently, and we rented a car. And the guy said, I have a Toyota, here's a Toyota. And we're like, okay, thank you. And he was kind of a goofy guy. And he said, hey, let me tell you something. You guys want a Maserati?
Wow.
And we're like, yeah, you don't do this BS. We know it's going to be like $1,000 more. And he said, there's a way I can give you a Maserati for $15 more, per day. And we're like, whoa, we'll take it, And then he was really fun, and he ran to the Maserati, and he said, get in this car, and he gave us the key, and we're like, vroom, vroom. And then all these, special features turn on, and suddenly your Jimi Hendrix is playing perfect volume, and you're like, when I visit my mom before she passed away. We go to San Diego. You get on the highway. The speed limit is 60 or something. Everyone's going 90.
Yes.
And you have to go 90. And I'm in this Maserati, and I'm like, okay. And it's like, vroom, and then, you sit in that car for a week. You get used to using that car for a week. And then you go back to your Toyota. It was a hard thing. And what I'm saying is, if you just follow the level, do all the work that's in the manual, it's like your mind becomes a Maserati. And it's much more fun to be in your mind. And you can run circles around your own mind. And it's some kind of luxury, to be in the. It's a luxury to be in a faster mind and a more joyful mind.
Oh, thank you for.
It's the Maserati.
Thank you.
I never ever thought I would even sit in a Maserati.
Thank you for that. That certainly gives this level a lot more depth.
We should call it the Maserati DCI.
Yeah. Thank you. Awesome.
By the way, if you don't know what's a Maserati, it's Italian, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very high quality Italian car, like higher than Mercedes-Benz or Rolls-Royce. Okay.
Cool. Another question is, this is a completely different question.
I don't mind, I'm here.
So, it seems to be a lot of the people that come to DCI, they have no problem pushing their productivity, but often it comes at the cost of their well-being, emotional, physical, etc.
Yeah.
What's the seed? I know that what we should strive for is to enjoy doing good work, but what's the seed to be able to actually enjoy doing good work?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I always go back to I had the opportunity to visit my old building in Manhattan a few days ago. And we actually rented a floor of the building. We had courses there. We held a course there. And so all these memories flooded back into my mind. And I didn't expect it. And suddenly I was in this place where I spent 10 years of my life, many, many hours every day. And suddenly I was in the same building. And suddenly because of the building, it all came back to me, and what it was like to be in that company. And it's true. I saw people break. I saw people. I had my best friend that we built she also helped build the company. She died. She died from the stress. She had diabetes. She got serious diabetes. She lost her legs, and then she died. And so she had the stress, and she was forced to work at a pace that was too much for her, and it literally killed her. And then if you could keep the same pace but somehow really, really enjoy it, if you could really, really so I have seen both options. I've seen someone kill themselves with hard work, and then I've personally experienced what it is to plant the seeds for this kind of productivity, and then get more and more relaxed and have more and more fun, and that's a wonderful gift. If we can help people with advanced level 4, if DCI can help people to maintain a very high level of productivity, and it would be stressful for a normal person. It would It would be very, very stressful for a normal person. But because you understand seeds and because you understand these methods, these inner methods of increasing your productivity, you're actually having more fun every year that goes by. And every year your level of fun is increasing. And the cool thing is you feel your level of fun increasing, you feel your productivity increasing, and you feel a sense of control of the process. I know why I feel happier, and I know why my productivity is increasing, and I know why my income is increasing, and I know I'm just going to have more and more fun and less stress, and that's cool. That's really cool.
Thank you. So, if we had to, do you think it's more of a general wisdom thing to just increase our seed intelligence, or a specific seed?
Yeah, okay,
You know what I
good.
mean?
It's a good question. So, is it that there's a secret seed
Mm.
that if we learn it, we can be more productive but also have more fun
Mm-hmm.
and less stress?
Right.
Or is it a combination of seeds?
Mm.
And is it some kind of exotic cocktail
Right.
of seeds? I'm more on the exotic cocktail side,
Mm.
meaning the purpose we put the 6th, 7th, and 8th life tools into the manual
Mm-hmm.
is very conscious and purposeful,
Mm.
because we know that the way you get to this kind of joy is through planting many a very tasty and powerful cocktail of seeds.
Mm.
And so my answer is more that by exposing your mind to the 100 joules on an evenly nightly basis,
Mm-hmm.
that's the exotic combination of seeds that has this effect of making you much more productive, much more successful, much more profitable, and increasingly relaxed and joyful.
Speaking about the jewels, can you? To be honest, when I read the title,
Mm-hmm.
as you said in the previous question, Wisdom AI jumped at me. And
Yeah.
to be quite honest, I don't understand why you use the word AI.
Okay, good.
So I'll tell you, we are in the era of AI, and to me, it seems that the current state of AI is it's amazing, but it still has a flavor of being defective. And I know that. Why did you choose AI for these 100 joules, Wisdom AI?
Yeah, it was partly just marketing,
Uh-huh.
to be honest. So AI is what we call a buzzword, right?
Right.
And if you just look at the amount of capital that's being invested
Mm.
in AI, it is off the charts. It's billions upon billions of dollars are being sunk into AI. People are hoping that it will be the next internet or something. That the people who I don't know, the people who bought my stepmother bought Apple stock at $28. Okay, and she died a rich person. She was a school teacher, first grade school teacher.
Mm.
And because she got into the market at the right moment, partly by luck, partly by intelligence, but so people are hoping, wow, this could be the next internet. This could be the next big thing. And if I can get in at the ground floor,
Mm.
then I'll ride this AI. And now there's an interesting, in the recent months, there's an interesting turnaround where there is a school of thought that the amount of investment in AI was irresponsible and unrealistic. and that Chat GPT, for example, has not developed further. And in fact, there were three major players quit OpenAI this last week. They said it's not reaching its potential. There's something wrong with how people are using AI. And I have a personal story about that. I write these manuals. I use a lot of illustrations because I think it makes the manual more interesting. And I use a certain photo agency, and I actually pay a monthly fee. It means I pay a lot of money personally every month so that I can have the best quality photos. And I found one agency that I really like, and they have hundreds of thousands of photos, and they are consistent. They have a certain taste about them. They have a certain theme about them. And something strange has happened. My company started offering AI, which means that now I have to describe the picture I want, and I can choose the AI option, or I can choose the non-AI option. I can go to all the photographs that were done with models and real people, and they went into an office building and they took pictures of people at work or something. Or I can ask the AI to do it. And the AI is funny, as you probably know. It has certain problems, like it can't do fingers.
Yes.
Like I often get a picture and the person's fingers are really messed up. And so what's happening with AI is that there's a recognition that it has a ways to go. But I personally, and by the way, there's a deeper problem with AI, which is fascinating. They are running out of data to feed the AI. You see, so worthwhile information has mostly been farmed already. Like you could farm the classics of English literature in a few days with a good AI. And then what do you farm after that to get more ideas or to develop further? So what I was trying to say is that the particular AI we're involved with, which is 25 centuries of incredible wisdom, you could farm it with AI, and you could farm it for a long time, and you would never reach the bottom of it. There are many, many, many layers of knowledge there and many layers of information. So I was trying to convey the idea, the excitement of AI, but it's actually much better than AI.
Right. Yes.
I don't know. But I'm just trying, I'm using the word AI to give some sense of the depth of it, but it's much deeper than any current AI.
Yeah, some of the people in our team were saying that they like the idea of the word ancient intelligence instead of artificial.
Oh, that's really cool. That's a really cool idea. We
Yeah.
might go there.